Hello, guys, welcome to this podcast, Everyday Talkies, which ironically does not come out daily. I am Anshul and I talk about random things to random people, majorly about life, perspectives, and thinking process. It's like an interview, or let's say more of a conversation with one or two guests about random topics that interest us. To be really honest, it's just a way to reduce my inhibitions in talking to people. So come join me and enjoy. Hello, guys, welcome to the new episode of Everyday Talkies. Oh, I have lost count of the episode number now. But today we have a new guest for you guys. His name is Atul. He was my classmate. And I thought, why don't I introduce you guys to him and talk about his life, his perspectives, and what he's doing currently. And it will also give me a chance to catch up with him because it's been really too long since I caught up with him since the last time we left college. So, Atul, how are you doing right now?
Hey Anshul, I'm doing good. Really a long time since we had a conversation.
Yeah, that's true. And even before this call, we were just chatting for 5 minutes, trying to catch up on what we are doing currently. And I got to know some pretty interesting things about Atul. So it would be a fun little conversation we'll have here. So Atul, for everybody who's listening, tell us what are you currently doing and talk to us about what are your interests and all of that.
As Anshul told, I have been into Christ University pursuing the BCA. He was my classmate along, and currently I have been working with Deloitte as an associate analyst. And apart from that, I am pursuing my masters as well in distance, masters in political science. So this is the two different combinations I know, but yeah, I'm really interested towards that. So this is the reason why I have chosen the two different sets altogether.
Yeah, I think that is what really shocked me also initially, Atul, that like we were in our placements. I remember, when you got placed in Deloitte and how you were working there and your job entails more of technical side of things. And when we were catching up 5 minutes ago, you told me that you had a distance learning program doing pol science, and that really shocked me because, I never pegged you for somebody who is interested in that because, we connected many times even in college, right? We did many events, we did this and that. You were always that guy who was up for probably inclined towards entrepreneurship or management or even coding for that matter, but never pegged you for a pol science guy. So how did you jump to this field? Like what drove you to this interest or decision?
Yeah, so it all happened in our last semester itself. So I was looking for something which I would really like to do. So till then, I think our placements were over and I was already with Deloitte. So this one opportunity I already had that I will work for Deloitte as an analyst. And apart from that, usually you also know that I was not much into coding. I used to copy your codes. And thanks to you, man, that I have cleared my exams, coding exams because of you. So that one, I'm not really interested into coding. And apart from that, I wanted to pursue humanity background curriculum. On this thought, I decided to take up political science. There were two options in front of me, either public administration or political science, but public administration is not really much encouraged in India, though there have been some of the colleges which have been giving you public administration degrees, but it has not been a formal education as of now. So political science have been evolved because of the theories and all those things. Public administration has been really started around 1989, so it is not really a very old subject which has been into evolving since a couple of last 20-25 years. So it will take a bit more time to study the public administration. So these two subjects were very closely related to each other because one is about thinking of how we run the politics and other is how the administration is done. So administration and politics is always coming together. So I was really confused about what to pursue and how to pursue this. Then I came across that Indira Gandhi National Open University. So it is one of the centers in our India which helps us to take up the vocational education in the terms of this humanity subjects as well. And luckily I found the MA in public administration as well and MA in political science as well. So after all those things, I finally decided to go with masters in political science and I took up that. So basically that's also a 2-year course, master's degree. So public administration, I would really say that there's no much of placement kind of thing because there's not really any company who will pick you up as a public administrator guy. And political science, there'll be quite a few of chances wherein you get to MNC seeking help for people in the international relations because political science always goes with international relations. So I was very much inclined towards IR. So that was the point where I thought, okay, let me take the political science and it will be a good option if I want to pursue and want to myself to place into a company wherein I handle international relations.
this is like very different. So like, let me go to the roots of it. Okay, how did you evolve this, interest suddenly in your life? Was it something which was always there in the back of your mind, like from an early age, or was it something that you discovered and you developed interest in towards the later years of your life?
I would say it has been developed like towards the later years of life. I was like always inclined towards being an entrepreneur or doing some business or continuing my father's business of no matter how. So these were the things which I was actually inclined towards. But gradually going, it was just a thought developed like, okay, let me just see the options which I have. And this basic thought developed by reading the NCRTs, which we have the 12th standard books. So once you open the 12th standard book, right, 12th standard NCRT, there are two books set for this. This is Contemporary World Politics and Politics in India. So there are two books related to it. So I have just as a amateur, I have just started reading those books, and gradually we start thinking about the things. Okay, we have World War II, 1930 and 1945. We have Cold War between two blocs, that is US and Soviet Union. How other countries formed the non-aligned movement and all those things. So we start gathering things in that manner. So I also started gradually thinking on those different areas. Okay, and then I thought, okay, this is a subject which I really wanted to pursue, which can help me develop my own thoughts as well. So this was the reason behind all this thing. Okay, let me look for a course wherein I can go for political science. IR was always the choice. Through IR, I went into political science.
Nice, because that is something which inspires people. Because when I heard that you were taking a pol science and that you developed an interest towards the later years and you pursued your goal towards it without even, I would say, I'm sure you thought twice and you took your time in a decision, but then you pursued that goal and developed your interest, even though it was developed in the later years. And that is something which I think even me and for everyone to admire, that to pursue what you love and to pursue your interests, no matter how weird or different what you might have studied in the initial days, because it will always lead to something which you will enjoy. So let me ask you this, like, how tough or easy was this decision, to switch your career goals in this manner?
To be really frank, I took almost a year. We have been graduate from 2019 May. So till 2020 January, this was the whole period. I was in Deloitte also, and I was thinking about taking up the some course as well. So these 8-9 months, I really thought on it. I thought, okay, what is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? What will be happening? Either of that, all those things were running in my mind. And then one fine day, it's okay, let's do this. Anyways, it is not a barrier for me to pursue any course, because it's not an in-person course, right? It's just wherein you can see the videos, lectures from IGNOU, and then you can pursue a distance learning. So this was the reason, I thought that let me take this up and pursue this. And since it is of my interest, it will be very helpful for me also to develop and stand in the MNC, because you really do not find such combinations in today's world, wherein you are handling the international relations and as well as working for MNC.
Yeah, and you know what, like in today's terms, these weird combinations only succeed because even when we were in college, there was one thing which was very much taught to us was interdisciplinary approach, where it worked something like this, that if you only studying computers, okay, you'll be a great coder, you'll be a great software engineer, but you want to know where to implement it, how to sell it, how to negotiate it, the business side of things. And for somebody who was studying, let's say, only business, they won't know how to utilize technology to the fullest extent. So it's always good to have a holistic approach to know about different aspects and try to mix and match them to make something new. So I think the combination that you already have a good handle over the computer stuff of it, the tech side of it, and now that you are gathering this information from public relations point or pol science point, and you're wanting to pursue in that international relations area, it might give you a nice edge over others who might be in the same field.
Right. So to this point, I would like to add, like many people you would have seen that after BCA they take up MBA, another different choice altogether. One's in a computer science field, another is in administration or management field. So now, as of what I have been into a firm like Deloitte, what I have seen is a firm always want to take someone who knows a variety of things, not only one particular thing. So they always look for someone with the management skills as well as some technical skills. So these two things they really look for, and then they decide whom to select and whom not to. So this was one of the thing which I have seen in my early days of Deloitte, and this is also one of the reason which helped me to take up international relations.
Okay, so for everybody who is, let's say, listening to this and does not have much idea about what pol science is, what international relations is, if you could, explain us in, let's say, in an imaginative or a hypothetical world, what they would do in real world terms, or let's say what an international relation guy do, what would that be, just so that we can visualize that?
Right. So all of us know that international relation is basically someone who is representing a company in with the international market. So to build a point on this, political science with international relations, they have kept together of these two combinations because there have been a lot of historical backgrounds behind it. Let me start with Mughal Empire, which came in India in around 1500th century from Babur to Humayun, and then Akbar and Jahangir and all those guys, right? So this way they have evolved from different country to all over to India in looking for a empire dynasty. So this way they also had some kind of person who was looking into their international affairs. There will be kind of people, East India Company, French East India Company, and then we have Dutch who came to India. So all these people, they had some kind of person who will look into the international matters, but they didn't call it international or IR guy or something like that, but they had a person who will look into these matters and say that, okay, this is the place where we can settle. This doesn't have much implications. This is basically a real ground where you can guys come and you can start establishing your factories. And moreover, this is the reason, this is the political background of this country. These are the reasons, geographical reasons. So all these things are a basis of international relations with political science. So without studying a political science for a country with IR, you cannot know which country is following what. There will be a different variety of cultures, there will be a different variety of people all around. So a IR guy will be able to understand for a company what is the best suitable relations for them. So this even how a culture with language also differs. A language, I do not mean French, Arabic, Hindi or something like that. It generally mean the way of talking, the way of communicating things. In India, we'll be very open to you, but in some other countries, they'll be very conservative about what they talk. They will think twice rather than talking. So all those things there'll be a lot of thoughts on this. So those thoughts are done by a theorist in the political science.
It actually makes a lot of sense, when you think of it, even from a company standpoint or from anybody's standpoint, that if you want to establish, let's say, a global presence of some sort, you need to understand the geography and history in that culture, right? And the very beautiful point that you mentioned was, by language, we don't really mean that the different dialects that we're coming through, but there is the body language communication, there is the non-verbal communication, which is the essential part in different cultures and different places around the world, which a person really has to understand. And that is how that person adapts and mingles with that culture and tries to sell the business or establish a business there. So actually, it brings a nice perspective to everybody who's thinking about this. So now that people know, why you've chosen this and what pol science is, what international relations really is. So how difficult or how easy for you was it to take a decision of distance learning course? Because again, people are not really open to distance learning courses. They really believe that in-present courses are the ones which give you the most effect. I would also want to ask you that, did you ever think of leaving Deloitte and just committing fully to proper course on pol science and taking it forward from there?
To answer this question, Anshul, what we look into a Western culture, right? Of course, there's a difference between a vocational education as well as in-person education. There'll be a lot of differences though. But for today, in an environment, it also depends on what you want to pursue. If I want to pursue an MBA, then I would not choose a distance learning course because it is not a conceptual based subject. It's like a management based of subject, and then you need to have a practice. You need to know a lot of things rather than theory in practice, right? But whereas we compare it to a subject like political science and IR, it is all a conceptual based subject, and you need to develop your concepts. And there's no really some practical steps involved in this. It is just really how you take up things, how you run those things in your mind, and how you give a different altogether view on that point. So these are differences between when you go to select a subject. It all depends on the subject which you want to take. Rather it should be a in-person course or it can be a vocational education as well. So to my point, I was very sure that I do not want to go to college again for 2 years to have a theory subject in front of me where I will be listening to a teacher altogether in the same manner how I'll be doing on an online course as well. Because there is no much of doubts or clearance session on these kind of subjects. It is like faculty will come, he'll be explaining what is Marxism, and it will be done, because there is no cross question you can ask him. It's just a history, right? Political science will also have a sector of history as well. So it is all like you need to accept it. You have questions or what, but the thing which happened is happened. You can't have any other view on that. What was the view behind that person is all the things which are developed by the thinkers. So they have already done their job. They're just telling what is their view on this, and if you can take up those thoughts and generate your view, it will be helpful for you to develop certain other things for you in your future. All they talk about is you are taking some information, you are processing your information and putting your own words. This is the difference between those subjects which I was very inclined towards, and they all were public administration will be a practical kind of subject, but when you take up as a kind of work related job, because public administration is like managing the policies which are created by government. So one of the example will be Niti Aayog, the 3-year framework which helps government of India. So Niti Aayog has a student intern kind of programs wherein they take the people from different background, and one who is pursuing a public administration course will be very helpful for them, because they know that okay, this guy has taken this course, some of the vocational training or an online coaching or whatever it is, but he has some thoughts on it. Let us take him, and then we can see and we can improve him how he actually thinks, how he has related all those theories and implies into our practical life. So all these things you see in our constitution, right, which are given by ancestors. It is not like which is like it has been newly developed. So you'll be really surprised. Even I was surprised to know our constitution of India is taken from 56 other countries. There was a person called B.N. Rao who has already studied 56 countries' constitution, and then he came up with our constitution. It was like really a different scenario when you look for a subject. So it can be either a practical subject or it can be a subject which you have to go and take it up in person.
Yeah, makes sense, makes a lot of sense. Theoretical subject it's best learned online. You don't want to go sit in a class and deal with somebody lecturing you for an entire whole day just for a theory subject. But okay, how are you then planning? Let's say, obviously this would be a hypothetical question. If you don't have an answer, feel free to not answer. But like, how are you thinking probably in the future? It's not an interview question, Atul, so relax. In terms of like, how long would you want to pursue your role with Deloitte, and what would be your ideal timeline to move into this area?
So my course is a 2-year course. So starting this January, I have been pursuing this. So till 2021, I'll be doing my first year completion, and then I'll be really thinking on how to take it up, because this subject is like you need to apply for some international companies as well. Of course, from where I'm doing the IGNOU, they also provide some placement kind of things where you can actually place your resume and you can ask for companies. So this is also one of the options which I'm looking for. But in Deloitte also, there's an option where I can take up this course itself and pursue in Deloitte itself. Looking into Deloitte perspective, they want someone who can manage a technical thing, but international relation guy will be needed at a different level. That is after the promotions. So manager is one who controls all of the lower set analysts, and so he'll be a person who is really inclined towards all these international policies, because I work in a project named as AFLAC, right? So this AFLAC is an insurance-based company wherein my manager knows how a US state government follows. How is the federalism there? He should know, because there have been a lot of conflicts between the government of central government of US and the state government of US, because they have different laws. So this way he should know, okay, if something AFLAC wants to build up, I would like to see what are the central government implication on that, and he will give his thoughts to AFLAC. Okay, as a consulting firm, Deloitte, they need to consult, right? They will give their views on this. So on this manner, there will be certain kind of job opportunities in Deloitte itself, which will be at higher level, not at the beginning level. So my view will be I will be joining some company directly after pursuing my course. Not to wait until the manager level, because it will almost take me 10 years to go to a manager level position.
Yeah, we are a bit impatient for waiting that long. I can absolutely understand. But it's actually wonderful to see somebody or to hear somebody do something actively pursue it and have a plan, at least in a basic stage, of how to take it forward. And I think people should know about that. People should not be afraid that if they don't have a goal, even I sometimes ponder that what needs to be done in the future, but these are existential questions which will keep on pondering you. So even if you have a clarity at a later stage, it's good to just take it up and pursue it full-heartedly.
I would really like to say that to have different thoughts at different times is actually okay. You should not limit yourself to some particular kind of degree or particular kind of knowledge. If you attain a degree of MA or MPhil or a doctorate as well, there will be a kind of learning which you can even pursue more. So there is not an end to learning. So it's like how you are interested towards it and how much you are able to take up that knowledge. It entirely depends on those lines. I have seen people who are just done with the undergraduate and they're happily living after, because they know that they cannot take some other knowledge and they're very happy with what they're pursuing now. It entirely depends on different situations and where do you want to see yourself in some later years.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Someday probably we'll have another episode with Atul. By then he'll be probably a manager somewhere out there in US and he'll be explaining us how the system works there. We'll be looking forward to that. But I'll again not take too much of your time, and we have been discussing about career plans and how you chose with Paul Sense and all of that. But talk to us about your other different things that is going on in your life, other interests. What are the other things that you are pursuing to pass your time during this lockdown? How has lockdown been treating you?
Lockdown has been very, very, I would say, like a threat to me, because I have told you, right? My company with the client which I'm dealing with is an insurance client in US. And you all know what is the current situation happening in US with all the COVID cases around, right? So I have a client which is a supplemental insurance guy. A supplemental insurance is basically differing from our Bajaj and all those kind of normal insurances. Supplemental insurance will be a provider who will give you a insurance even though you are prone to some disease. Okay, so let's suppose you are going to a Bajaj guy and you are asking for a policy for certain cancer or anything, accident or something like that, dental or something like that. The insurer will take your medical test and all those things, and based on the reports he will give you a policy, right? But AFLAC, which is my client, deals with the insurance, supplemental insurance. So supplemental insurance is basically, even though you are prone to a disease, AFLAC will give you an insurance, but the premium will be high. And actually at this business model, people actually tend towards this, like the old age and all those things, right? All those people age group, they are equally tend towards this. And being this kind of company with COVID is a really difficult thing, because there are a lot of cases which comes in, and at the back end we need to develop, and I have told you before, right? There are different laws for different states in US. It is not one central government which makes laws. So Georgia will have different, Atlanta will have different, Chicago, California, Rhode Island will have entirely different laws. Being a developer and being as our client, we need to have certain policies associated with each of the states. So we need to do this back-end works, and this COVID situation, our workload has increased because there have been a lot of claims, hospitalization bills, medical bills, and all those things. So at back-end, to take so much of data and to manage that data has been a really difficult task for us as of now, because we have not seen a lot of data together in these previous past years. Even my seniors have not seen. I was talking to one of the US client. He says that in his also a century of his, like he's already almost 82 now. He told by almost my 82 years life, I have not seen this kind of disease spreading in our country or any of the country of the world. Being a 82, he is so much of expressive. Really thinking on this, how will be a situation in US happening for the old age people. In India, the demographic dividend is like we have more people, the kind of population demographics. But in US, there's a slight difference. There have been people now who are of age more than 45-50. So for them to really cope up with coronavirus is a difficult thing. So this was the kind of difference between us and them, and that brought a lot of cases in US and a lot of hospitalization bills which we need to incorporate into our backend system. So this was a dreadful 3 months for us to handle all this data.
Yeah, exceptional times, can't really help out. But it's good that most of us have been able to retain our jobs, even though in our tough times, because we have seen lots of cases of job losses and all of that. But hopefully, none of our immediate ones have suffered from that. Okay. apart from this, what about the other things apart from work life, or are you only involved in work and pol science?
Right. My usually like my day goes like this only. I've been like working all day, and then when I get a couple like some of the free time, I like usually read some of the books because I am coming my exam in December, and daily we have the assignments as well. So to take up those and then to prepare for the exam, we need some certain guidelines to be followed. So to those activities, I'm much more inclined now. But yeah, like on Sundays or weekends, usually everything has started in like everything has been normal now, so usually go here and there, meet friends and all those things. Normally how we were living, I think the situation is back now.
Yeah, but we need to be careful because I think that is what we proponent. Like, I understand that people have been going out and we can't stop the entire world, but at least take necessary precautions. Wear your mask, sanitize regularly. I think that is the best minimum we could do to not spread it to other people. So I think that's basically enough. And thank you, Atul, for joining us for this episode and sharing your story of how you jumped into the world of pol science out of nowhere and how you pursued it. And it's been actually great learning for me and for everybody else. And as we all know, Atul has no other personal life apparently, or he has nothing to share. He's too busy with Deloitte and IGNOU. From my personal experience, at least I could share, is that he was always the guy who used to keep on working with college stuff is going on, that the studies are going on, but he had some work with him at all times, be it some internships, be it some entrepreneurial idea he might be searching. He was always there on the stage pitching some startup idea in colleges for this competition or the other. So seeing him doing this does not really shock me, and it's glad to have you in this episode, Atul.
Thank you so much, Anshul.
No, absolutely. And probably we'll bring you again. Hopefully, you'll remember us when you become all famous and all of that. But
sure, Anshul. Not as famous as how the everyday talkies will be happening in near future.
Oh, I'll be glad. You know what I'm banking on? I'm not banking on my success. I'm banking on all my friends becoming successful, all the startups becoming successful, because then I can proudly say that their first interview was with me or their first podcast was with me, and then I'll blow up in an instant. I'm playing the long wait game.
I'm glad how you changed your whole computer science perspective into a marketing perspective.
Oh yeah, it makes sense, right? Because if I eventually have a podcast with all my classmates, there is bound to be someone who makes it huge, right?
Right. I'm sure now you can pursue your MBA. Being looking at your management skills now.
I'll check it out. But okay, thank you, Atul. Had a fun conversation with you. Hopefully your listeners enjoyed too. If you want, we'll keep on bringing Atul. He's in our Discord, so if you guys want to talk to him, join our Discord or follow him on Insta. Link. I'll put his profile links in the description, and you can have a word with him for future references. Till then, thank you everybody. Thank you, Atul. We'll meet you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you, Anshul.
Thank you to all the listeners. I'll catch up with you again soon with someone new and lots of interesting discussions. So, bye.